Ready for a nap? We're going to get started now. We have an artist that we are going to discuss. This artist was somebody who I grew up not really appreciating, but found as the older I got, the wiser I became, and noticed how underrated that Mr. Bob Ross actually was. He was born in 1942. He died in 1995 at the age of 52. Mr. Ross was a landscape painter. He actually had a PBS show for 11 seasons. Now, back in the day, when I was your age, there were 4 channels on the television: ABC, NBC, CBS, and PBS. They also quit programming at 2 in the morning and began back at 6 in the morning. In between those 4 hours was fuzz on the television set with like a bunch of bees just. So during his 11 seasons on PBS, I liked PBS because it had Sesame Street. And I would look forward to Sesame Street because that meant after Sesame Street, my dad would be getting home and we would be having dinner, and then he would sit and watch the news. I didn't like the news back then. Don't like the news nowadays. But I always had known when Mr. Ross was on because my mother was one of his disciples. She looked forward to the Joy of Painting weekly. That was her time. My mother was always very artistic, but she always knew that Bob could give her that extra edge and push her into just letting go and feeling good about herself and painting. So my mom would set up the canvas in the easel, much to like I have right now. And only one of the TVs in our house was color. The other 2 were black and white. So she always picked the color one. She'd have her canvas ready, and she stole one of my dad's tackle boxes and put all of her paints and brushes in it. So what she would get was this. Somebody get the lights, please. As Hooligan back there made mention, these are all now on Netflix. The great thing about Bob is if you're having a good day, he was going to make it better. If you were not having a great day, he could turn it around.
Hi, welcome back. Certainly glad to see you today. It's a fantastic day here, and hope it is wherever you're at. So I tell you what, let's start out today and have run all the colors across the screen that you need to paint along with us. While they're doing that, let me show you what I got done up here. I have my standard old pre-stretched canvas up here.
Okay, you see where it says Prussian blue? This is where my mom was all excited because she had her palette, and you never knew what picture he was going to paint that day. You just were ready and anxious to go paint along with him. And she's got her palette out, and she's got the tackle box wide open, and these colors are the ones that he was going to use in the picture that day. So she would be frantically going through, all right, some titanium white, and squeeze that out, and some Prussian blue, and squeeze a little bit of that out, and she'd make her way around until she had all the colors. Oh boy, it was those days where she didn't make it to the paint store to replace the ones that she ran out of, and oh my goodness, she'd have to come up with something else. Bob always went just a little faster than you wanted him to, but that's what VCRs were for, because you could rewind them back then. Stop, rewind, rewind. But he's truly a nice, even, monotonous, meaning his voice doesn't inflect. He tries to keep everything nice and quiet. I had one girl in the other classroom. I'm 4th grader, haven't heard her speak to me a single time this year. So what are we, a month and a half out of the end of the school year? And I said, yeah, how Bob Ross is serene. He's like a nice calm pool of water, no ripples in just making you feel at zen with yourself. She goes, unlike you? And I'm like, oh, okay, so you're gonna drop the mic and walk away from that. Thank you very much. Yes, I am, unlike Mr. Ross, I'm rather loud. I like to move around a lot. So,
Here, and I've covered it
let's
with just a
listen to a little
thin
bit
even
more.
coat of liquid white. And the liquid white just makes the canvas wet and slick, and so we're all ready to go. So
See how
let's do a
big his
fantastic
canvas
little
was?
painting day. Today I'm
For
gonna,
his palette.
I want to show you a very simple little painting that really works well. Just, let's do something easy. Start with a 2-inch brush, and let's go right into a little touch of the phthalo blue. And just touch a little and pull it out, and then tap the bristles. That gets us a nice even distribution of color, see, all the way through the bristles. Okay, let's go up here. Because we have the liquid white on here, the color is continually mixing. So you start at the top, making little X's, little crisscross strokes, just like so.
All right, I'm gonna skip ahead a
Let's see how
little
it
bit.
blends with that liquid blues. Well, I use both blues. What the heck? We'll start with phthalo, like we did on the sky. Let's go up in here. Maybe there's a little water in here. You know me. Shoot, I love water. Now then, fun time. And then we wash the old brush. If you painted with me before, you know this is the highlight of the whole painting. There we go. Just shake it off. And just cover the entire studio. You should see our camera crew.
My mom tried that once. My dad wasn't too happy.
What she do?
Cleaning the brush off on the side of the easel. He used to call it beating the devil out of the brush. We're gonna go ahead and we're going to see how he starts making some nice wispy clouds. And then he's
You
gonna,
notice there, we put tape on the furrows of these brushes and stuff, just so they don't shine too much.
now know that, he always works
I get
back
better
to
sometimes
front.
and say the equipment that you use looks different
Yes.
than what I have.
The
It's no
background,
different.
and he
It
works his
really
way all the way to
It's
the
no different. All we
foreground.
do is we have to dull it, otherwise when all these lights in the studio hit it, it would shine and make big glares in the TV, and this mean old director would yell at me. Ease it. There, very lightly. And one hair and some air. Maybe. Shoot, we have so much fun with clouds. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna put another one right here. Now, when you're doing your painting, you decide.
Very important.
Wherever
You get to
you want a
pick.
cloud, then that's the right place to put one. Don't put one here just because I did. Be the easiest way imaginable.
Now, here he has what's known as a palette knife, the stuff that normally you would take and on that big palette with the colors, you would scrape a little of this color, a little of that color, and then you'd go over there and blend them together and then use a brush. He skipped that part. He is really good at using the actual palette knife to do the work of the brush.
All we do is just put in a basic shape, and you decide the shape of your mountain. You decide. If you don't live someplace there's mountains and you want to paint a mountain, there are books and videotapes and all kind of stuff that show you all different shapes of mountains. Or just make one up. Just make it up. There. Be creative when you paint. Just let your imagination take you to worlds that exist only in your mind, but you can put them on canvas. There.
Now we're
I
gonna
think
skip
I've mentioned
ahead
this
a
in
little
other
bit.
series. That's probably what initially got me interested in painting. Use that same old brush. Shoot, we don't care. Take a little bit of cad yellow ochre. Be right back. Get a little touch of black. A little bit of sap green. There we go. But mix these colors on the brush so you have a multitude of things happening on the brush. A little Indian yellow here and there, we'll touch the least little touch of the bright red. All on one brush though. Look at all the colors that are in that one brush. And we're touching and pushing. Okay, let's go up here. Now then, I want to make little grassy areas that flow right up the hill. So all we do is touch and tap. Follow the angles. Always follow those angles.
He did that whole mountain
There.
with his palette
See?
knife.
But isn't that simple?
That's good.
All you're doing is
I
just
borrowed my
tapping.
mom's
The most
palette
important
knife
thing
once.
is the angles here.
What'd you do?
You don't
Lost
want your
it.
mountain to flow up this way and you put grasses going in a different direction. It will disturb you.
Not
Once
happy
you've looked
with
at paintings and your mind says,
Yep.
something's wrong with that painting. You might not be able to tell exactly what it is, but you know something's wrong.
All right,
with
I'm
it.
gonna skip ahead to the second set of mountains.
This is just a repeat of the other side. You'll do it twice, and that'll give you a lot of practice.
Hanger.
A lot of practice. There. Okay. And once again, we take a little white, put a little touch of dark sienna in it. Maybe at least a little touch of black into that one, just so it has some. This was an evergreen color.
All right,
So
so
let's go back in here.
you can just see the painting coming to life,
Just tap it in.
and
How long does this take us?
this is a
The main thing I
30-minute
wanted to show in
show.
this painting is how to make very simple little
And I'll get
mountains.
you,
And I
I wanna get you another spot where he's showing you his fan brush. All right, this is another brush that he made very, very popular. It's like a flat brush, but it fans out. So you can use it one direction to make real skinny lines. You can turn it the other direction, and he makes his trees really, watch how he does this. He just bounces it back and forth.
But as you work down, push harder and harder with the fan brush. And it'll force the bristles to bend downward. And it'll make all those little hanging down things underneath your tree limbs. And evergreens always seem to have those little hanging downs. I don't know.
All right, so here we have our background. We have our middle ground. Notice the trees just look like what you might put if you were making grass in a picture. But then he puts the little tops on a few of them, and your brain says trees in the middle ground. And now he's in the foreground and he's making these larger trees.
What you call it. Little limbs that hang down.
He finishes off
But I want this one to look
a
like
little
it sort
white.
of curves around. So just do that like that. And I'll put it in there first. And then I'll put the dark so you can see it behind it. That you can do, even if you've never painted before. So from all of us here, I'd like to wish you happy painting. And God bless, my friend.
All right, so Bob Ross. Today we're gonna be making a landscape together. What I'd like to do though is because we have such limited space, I need your portfolios to get recollected. Put Mr. Ross inside your portfolio, send him out to the side. I'm really hoping that we can, sure, that'd be great. Want to keep the lights again, my dear? I already have some left.
I love manual. How do you like mine? Mine is crowns.
All right, here come the jobs. Somebody already should have left the paints. Somebody is gonna be in charge of putting the paints away with the caps on them neatly. Secondly, somebody is going to be the water dish person. They get 2 water dishes. Third person is going to go get paper towels. Make sure you get a good chunk for everybody. We're gonna be using those a lot. Remember, if your paper towel gets nasty, throw it away and get another one. Last but not least, brushes you're going to need. 1 flat red brush and 1 smaller brush.
Okay.
Alright, we'll do it.
Alright, Captain! Mr. Burger.
Like a bunch of different colors in it.
The thing is, because of the cap.
Yeah, it is. I didn't get to write anything. Oh. How did he do that in 30 minutes? Okay. Because he's a skilled artist. He went so fast on those mountains, yet they look so pretty and detailed. This is good. And he knows you got fix the problem. Oh my god, that looks really good.
It's to draw, it's to make trees at the end.
So then he has to get everything. What the heck? What is this? Are you all ready to go?
My table's ready to go. See? like this. Yeah. Okay. Scrub. We're good. See what I do there? My table's
Great. Nice. You're set.
table's all nice. Thank you.
Okay. First off, never trust the person who used the brushes before you. So, rinse and clean your brushes. Yes. Yes, you do. All right, the joy of painting. While you're working, if you guys have a class that can't help yourself but not be quiet, I have some quotes that Bob Ross said during his episodes. First one is the one that I have on my t-shirt. I have a Bob Ross t-shirt on right now. It says, "We don't make mistakes, just happy accidents." So today, there's no such thing as making a mistake. This is your world. You get to make it. He says here, you too can paint almighty pictures. All right, let's get started. After you clean and dry your brushes, we're going to take something to write with, or even a dirty brush, I don't care. And we're gonna make the mountain range. This way we know whereabouts we're headed. Bumpy line across the top. Whatever you can make a mark with. If you have to look more than twice, you're looking too hard. Okay, these are your mountains.
Our mountains, they look as good as us.
All right. Next, I'm going to take and I'm going to put a line across the middle, goes past the center. Then I'm going to bring it back a little bit like this. Now that I brought it back, I'm going to take and I'm going to swing it over towards the corner. Now, Mr. Ross didn't usually use, he prepped his canvas with a layer of already clear or white or black surface, so it was damp already. This is just so that we have some references. Last thing we're gonna do on the front, you put a little bump over here, the other side of the river. And then you turn it over and write your name on the back. Now you should never have more than 3 paint caps off at any given time. If you do, you're gonna probably end up putting the wrong color on the wrong paint, and that's when we get yuck inside the trays. So students this week and last week have been fantastic about making sure that the red stays red and the yellow stays yellow and the green stays green. But they put the wrong cap on there inadvertently, and all of a sudden the next time somebody opens it up, they had a green cap and the yellow tray, and some of it drips down inside of it. So that's an issue, not a problem. If you make a mistake by not cleaning your brush and getting some of your paints dirty, tell me right away and I can fix it. If you are sitting across from somebody who is not using their paper towel or water dish correctly, let me know and I'll step in and I'll find out why they want to make a mess of our trays. All right, here we go. First off, the large red brush, flat, clean and dry. I'm going to do exactly what I taught you not to do by scooping it up. I know, edge here. So then I'm going to take and I'm going to put some white, little clumpy, right over the top of the mountains. This is going to be part of the sky, but I want the sky to be lighter down towards the bottom. Now, if you find that you are out of a certain color, you can wait until after I show everybody what they're going to do, and then raise your hand, and I'll come over and fill up your container.
Oh, my
They're
camping.
all gonna be a little dirty. That's somebody's dirty brush water from the last time.
Mine's mixed with brown.
Okay, listen. Is it mostly white? Use it. There we go. Perfect. Alright, now I know I taught you guys also to clean and dry your brush every time before we switch colors, but we're gonna be using this paint over on this tray. So we don't necessarily have to worry about it being clean. I'm gonna take, and I'm gonna start with the blue by going across my sky up here at the top. What I'm doing is, as I'm painting it, you can see I'm blending the color as I'm going in. So I don't have just one solid blue. I have some blue, I have some light blue, I have some really light blue. And then I'm gonna get it down here, closer to the mountaintops where I put the white, and I'm gonna have some really very pale light blue. Bring that right up into the sky. And remember, the lines, it's okay if you went right over the top of them. Now I'm using my brush in a horizontal direction. What I'm trying to stay away from is having one solid color for my sky. I'd like multiple colors. Yep. Now before I finish cleaning and drying my brush, I'm not putting any more paint on my brush. I'm gonna take my brush down here, and I'm just gonna clean off my brush, the white and the blue, down in this shape below. Doing great.
We need some, yeah, I need some way to get that off.
No, that's fine.
We need some more paper.
Yep. Thanks, bud. All right. We're getting there. That's the last of this blue, so use it up. All right. Now we're gonna use the turquoise. Very nice. Now we're gonna use the turquoise. So clean, dry brush. The secret to doing anything is believing that you can do it. Anything you believe in strong enough, you can do. Anything as long as you believe. pressure, just relax and watch it happen. So now this time you're not gonna have to scoop it, unless of course that's how you want to paint. But this time we're gonna take and we're gonna paint this entire shape turquoise. Now, it's okay if you leave bare spots, meaning you dry brush. Usually when you paint, you wanna keep a wet edge on your brush. Remember, the lines that we made are just guidelines. You wanna change them up, feel free to do that. In painting, you have unlimited power. You have the ability to move mountains, bend rivers. Unfortunately, he said, when I get home, the only thing I have power over is taking out the garbage. See if this touches base with any of you. We artists are a different breed of people. We're a happy bunch. We want happy paintings. Happy paintings. If you want sad things, watch the news.
Yeah. True. Right now,
All right. Then I'm gonna clean and rinse my brush.
La 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 la, sing a happy song. La la, sing a happy song.
Next color we're gonna use is black.
I'm being so happy. I'm like, we're using Premiere. Whatever, happy.
We're getting there. All right, so he would use his palette knife here, but I don't have palette knives for you. I looked into them, they're kind of expensive. All right, I'll come by as soon as I show everybody. Now, if you get some white and you start mixing some gray, don't worry about it. That looks even better. brush, that's exactly how my mother would be every week. Always second guessing, oh no, did I do that right? Oh, that doesn't look the way his does. But you know what? Just let go. Enjoy this. It's your picture.
So your mom did it when she was younger?
Yeah.
My mom did when she was a freshman.
My mother was gonna be an art teacher.
Oh, that's right.
This kept her feeling that way.
Well, you know, I'm done, it's so great to see this, but, you know how it changed. I went down the basement, Chance was watching. I'm like, why is this dark under the apartment? You love,
Clean and dry. We're gonna finish blanketing the canvas with color. Remember, when you're cleaning the brush, also get the ferrule. That's the part of the brush, it's gold on this one, that holds the bristles together. Try not to smash or wrench it out. The rest of the picture here, we are going to make green.
Green, yeah, that's not green.
Wow.
Now we're back here, actually where I'm touching the mountains, it's turning dark green, that's fine and dandy. I think that looks great.
Green.
I'm on a green. This is my happy place.
Nice sweeping motion with the brush. Keeping a wet edge on it. Alright, now.
Mr. Burgrass. Mr. Burgrass. Whenever I say something at school, you stop laughing. I don't have a dad.
Good discussion about that.
They're not married.
Our time I just don't have it. I
And then she was just like halfway through while we were talking, we make a weird face, so it took us a minute to figure it out.
The first time I started laughing and everyone else started laughing. The second time Alex started laughing, I mean, Aubrey was just like, oh, it was just a bit, and still, I still was laughing at the background. So I put on my jacket, but to the part when the part was that makes it so awkward because all of a sudden everyone's talking. I know. Yeah.
You guys have a lot of caps on.
I made you the other
Go over to you and maybe I need those names.
Now, well, top 3.
Did you just hear it?
No.
She's like, you know what? You used to
So it's just like,
But whenever I say something, Lori starts saying insane.
which is something that you can easily get if you just make your friend
You're funny.
Yeah.
You're funny.
Oh, yeah, I know, but I mean, like, you don't need any special training. Yeah. You don't need to, like, for an actress, like, you need to play.
Everybody, you know what? Sing it with me. Here we go.
It's the drying time. It's the dry time. Aye, Captain.
Clean dry brush. Now you'll notice that most of the canvas is completely covered at this point.
Mine's completely black.
We're going to brown.
I need a new brush. Okay, so I asked my sister where she
Alright, with the brown, I'm gonna start with the thin line on the far bank of the river.
So we take our small brush.
I turn my flat brush to the side,
Aye, Captain.
and then as it comes around the corner here, I'm gonna widen it out. And make it a little bumpy too. Well, that's completely up to you. There's multiple browns to be used. You have the tray of earthen tones, there's terracotta, it's a reddish brown, there's regular browns, and then there's mahogany, which is a darker brown.
What is that supposed to mean?
Mahogany brown.
Leah, you have like mahogany brown?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I probably had a little green or blue on, or turquoise, excuse me, on my brush. So I wanna clean that before I go back into the brown tray. And now I'm gonna go up to the mountains, and I'm gonna put some brown on the back sides of the mountains. So now I'm setting it. Good. So on the left side of the mountains, I'm placing some brown. I'm leaving some black there too. See how it fades right in nothing? That's just what you're looking for. Each of us at some time in our life wants to paint pictures.
I can see here and do
Every
this all
day is a
day.
good day when you want to paint.
You're right.
You'll pick up. All kinds of newspapers or, someone to buy plastic. Someone to buy plastic tape. Use it.
We're going to a wedding, we would have to change it. She's like, excuse me, you're not the boss. I'm like, excuse me, I am. Yeah, I know, same with me.
All right. Now, really quick brush, because we're going back to the white.
Yes, yes.
Really clean brush, we're going back to the white.
Mine's fine.
All right, so with the white,
Can somebody run through?
I'm going to take and I'm going to start putting it in first along the shoreline. And then I'm gonna put some lines in here where it's flowing down the river, and as I do it, I'm making wider lines. So I get over here. And I can make very wide lines. We're watching the river flow. The rapids come about. Go in the direction of your river. Now later, if we get time, I'm gonna put some silver in there with that white, and oh man, it looks so cool. The metallic tray that we use, I really haven't gotten to it very often, with any of the classes. But if you get a chance to, you're gonna be able to, add some metallic colors in there. I think you'd really, just the last little touch so that it makes it sparkly and,
Gives it a little pop.
yeah.
Anything that's sparkly and glittery is perfect.
It's not true. It's actually not it. No, just like this.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, now I'm gonna take,
is this gonna make it look
I'm gonna
ugly?
grab my brush again. We're gonna use white, but I don't wanna attempt the,
Okay, so guess what?
Container.
I know.
contaminate it with any other color.
It's question making.
So
I
nice,
asked so many questions.
clean, dry brush. And then I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna put some white. Now these don't have, these aren't just like snow peaks on the mountains. These are, I'm just putting a highlight on top of them. So it looks like the sun's shining, sun is shining really nice and bright down on them.
I need more
Streaking
white.
into-
Yeah, do you make it?
Yeah, if it turns gray, that's fine.
It might turn a beautiful color.
See that brown? See that brown?
Turn that brown up high brown. My favorite color is 19.
Okay.
Now, Bob Ross learned to paint while he was in the Air Force. He would go to the USO, which is a place to relax, and they would play games, and every week they would have a painting session. Well, it turns out that the painting that was being done at the time when he was in the Air Force was not the kind of painting that he was interested in. At that point, abstract expressionism, pop art, all these other styles of art were becoming the mainstream. Put it away. And his art teachers were teaching him how to think about what a tree looks like. Well, he didn't want to think about it, he wanted to make a tree. He wanted to feel how a tree looks and paint it that way. So he was at odds with a lot of his art teachers, but because of that, it made him work harder at what he did and find the joy and the love in what he did, and now he shares it with millions of people, even today, after passing away 17 years ago? No, 17, no, 23
28.
years ago,
What year did you die?
95.
23.
All right, now, we're gonna get to start with our happy trees.
Yay!
He had his absolute favorite fan brush for this. So what I'm gonna ask you to do is turn your brush so that it's sideways, it's not wide, it's skinny. And what I'm gonna ask you to do is to go in back here. Remember, here we have the trees. Look at the trees in the background. Using black. And I'm gonna make some trees back there. Now you don't have to go all the way across the middle, you can if you want. Now, for this happy trees, he said, you gotta give them a friend. Trees are better when they have friends. So now we're gonna go take and we're gonna make some larger ones, not the foreground ones, the larger ones in the middle. So they're going to be, let's see if I can do this with this brush. Yep, everything's gonna be in black until we go back, let that dry and go over it with some other color. Now I'm gonna put some taller lines in there, and now I'm gonna turn it the other direction, and I'm going to bounce. Trying to see a spoon I can make it. And bounce that line back and forth. Remember, we're making it more towards the bottom. Might be pressing down too hard. Still in the other classroom, that our squatters came back for the first time last week when it started to get nice out. Now we're back to having 20 inches of snow. In our front yard, we have a 50 or 60 foot pine tree, and we have two eagles that call it their cabin. They've got a huge nest. Maybe, well, they could fly there. By flying, it's probably 2 miles away. But they like to come and perch in the tree outside of our house. So every morning for 3 months, I walk out and there's the eagle staring down at me, saying hi. We were worried about the dog at first, but
It's a bigger dog.
she's about 25 pounds. So,
50 pounds on, that's like 2 inches tall.
but they weren't interested in her, they were more interested in looking for the fish. Dead fish, floating fish. Alright. After you get some trees in the middle ground, then it's time to go big. So watch how I do this. Over on the opposite shore, I'm gonna use my brush, coming up, going up. Now you don't have to make just pine trees. Here you can see he has other types of trees here. Feel free to do that. You're welcome to do whatever you wish. That's just gonna require you going back and bouncing some greens over the top of your, looks like my brush picked up some other colors and it looks really nice. I'm just making shadows right now, because I know that I can go back in a little bit, and I'm gonna add some green right over the top of that, and, the black is gonna make it look that much more believable. Why don't I put a couple of, even these trees, I'm gonna make these birch trees, so they're white. I'm gonna start with a black. Go over here and make a few. Now you may wanna take and use your small brush at this point too. I'm gonna let that dry for just a little bit. Now I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna grab some of the other colors. Now in the earthen tones, we have the terracotta, we have, I call it the mustards, we have the dark mustard and the light mustard. So what I'm gonna start with is the dark mustard, and I can either use my tiny little brush and go back there, and I'm gonna make some bushes in the background. Now maybe with my little brush I can take and I can put dried grass hanging out by the water. Maybe little bushes. Okay. Remember, clean dry brushes. We're going to now come back with other colors. Go right up over. Illusion of space. done here is I've actually ended up making some dark green that I can come down here, make some shadows. Alright, you can do multiple layers, so as you can see I put some, over the black I put some green. Now I'm going to take some metallic green and I'm going to put a little bit of that on there. Maybe even some metallic yellow. Some blue or some white down at the river.
So usually it's like
It's $1,050. But that's per day.
I knew it was you. I'll see. Oh, I want to get some on.
like a month later. And then she spelled it out, and I was, oh, I know.
Alright, you have 5 minutes to make this your picture.
What happens with some people if they're hitting like this and they're a girl? They could be hitting like this. Right behind them. And then
At this point, I've seen some wonderful people putting in some beautiful animals. Deer, elk.
No one can cry pretty. That's just sad.
So you're cleaning your brush.
why are there so many things?
Look at this, the princess crying.
Wait, she's the one. Bro, I have this picture. She's 6 that are not in my friend.